we're really excited to be able to share a little progress regarding the elementary project. So I'm going to share a few slides and try to provide that update. So first of all, if you look at this is the site, the elementary school site, and on the site the school building would be located on the southwest corner of the property, and it'll be back a ways from the road. The road that you see on the left of the screen is actually St. Paul Avenue, and that will be paved by the time that the school district or the school is built. You'll notice as you drive down, if you were to think of the top of that screen, that's you're coming from Highway 10, you'd be driving down that the first loop. There's a loop. We would go to the second road and turn in, and that's where the buses would turn in and drop off students. It's a two-story building. And actually where the buses drop off and they enter, that would actually be entering into the upper level of the school building. If you keep following that road down to the bottom of the screen, that's where 14th Street will be. That doesn't exist right now, and really when we develop that, it will probably at least initially only go past that second drive of the parking lot, and that's going to be the loop and the queue for parents to come if they want to drop their children off, and we will have to have busing out there from town as well. So hopefully most of the students will be bused and we won't have a big congestion there. But the students that enter on that side, or people that enter on that side of the building, would be coming in the lower level of the building, and we'll look at a little bit more at the layout for that in just a minute. So this gives you a picture of the floor plan for both levels of the building. On the left, you see the main lower level of the building, and the main entrance is at the bottom. If you think of the building being split in half, you have the academic wings on the east side of the building, and then you have the other areas of the building on the west side. So when you walk in the main entrance of the gym, of the building, you would enter into the administrative area, the main office, and the principals will be located there, and across from the main office, you would have the transitional kindergarten pod, and if you think of that classroom pod, there are three separate pods on the lower level. You have TK kindergarten, and then you have first grade, and you have second grade, and those are separate pods, kind of little home bases for the grade levels. And on the on the left side of the building, you have the gym, and that gym, it's a two-story structure built into the side of a hill. So from the outside of the building, it will look like a single story. And there'll be the larger gym with bleachers, and the other gym so that we have room for all the PE classes going on during the day. You walk your way through that. The art room will be located across from the office, and then we have a PLC area where support staff will be located out of there. Some of the AEA staff will be located out of there. And then you keep going down that hall, and you see the music area will be on the lower level as well. If you look on the right, that's the upper level of the building, and again, it's structured the same way. We have classroom pods on the east side of the building. The fifth grade will be over the TK kindergarten, and then fourth in the middle and third on the north end of the building. On the left side of if you think right above the office and the main entrance of the school, the media center will be there. There's also a makerspace area that will be a part of that. And then you walk into the commons and the kitchen and maintenance area, and then there's a special ed pod as well on that building. So, and again, we'll look into that in a little bit more detail. So this is, if you think about the pods, there are lockers at the end of the pods, and there are restrooms there as well. This really minimizes the noise and allows for the learning spaces to be dedicated learning spaces. The area you can see where we're talking about as far as the lockers. The other thing that you think about, it will be a long building, and so what they've done is they've kind of tried to break it up and to turn it into a little bit more of a homey. The pods are separated and they feel more like smaller home bases, and they can be locked off and that type of thing. So that's how the pods are broken down. Outside of the classrooms, we've added extended space in the corridors that really expands the classroom and provides more opportunity for collaboration for students and for staff working with students. There's quite a bit of transparency and visibility in the building from the classrooms out to these areas as well. So that's where those spaces look or are. Each pod is broken into 6 classrooms right now, and then there's a space. If you look in the middle of this top middle of the screen, that flex space, that would be, if we need to expand another classroom, that's where that classroom will be. But right now that area will be used by all of the different sections of that pod. Classrooms, how they're broken down, this is what a classroom would look like. If you think of that larger green space is the main teaching area, and then that little bluish space on the left corner of the middle that'll be a little reading nook, and then there's a little extra collaborative space, work area in the back of the room, and then there's that additional collaborative space outside of the classroom. Just a picture of kind of how things will look. We will have flexible furniture or portable furniture, so we can rearrange the rooms however we need to. We're excited about that, especially as you think post-COVID and we can really interact differently. That'll be a great thing for everybody involved. That just gives you a picture of the pod layout from the whole thing, and that would be the 4th grade pod if you were looking. Now this just gives you a picture. If you were outside in that area between the classrooms, and if you think in the middle right of that screen, that's kind of that potential future classroom area that's a flex space. There's the little green room in the middle. In front there is a flex room where some of the support staff will work with students, and then the classrooms you can see are kind of wrapped around that collaborative area. This is just another view looking into the classrooms from that outside corridor, and there would be inside of a classroom. And where the students are standing, you can see those 4 white panels in the middle or the back of the room. That's actually where storage space will be for the room, but it's also those will be whiteboards where students can collaborate around those at the same time. So trying to maximize that space. This is a picture if you were on the upper level and you were walking towards the south end of the building. You're just coming into right next to the commons area, cafeteria area, and you're headed towards the media center. That would be if you see that little black yellow box with the black X. That's where you are, and you're walking from that main entrance on the second floor down towards the main entrance in the media center. So just to give you a reference. This would be if you were standing in the cafeteria. You can see there are 2 different serving lines in that cafeteria that will serve 2 grade levels at a time during the day, and so that's how that's arranged. And then this would be if you were walking into the library or the media center looking south, so you'd be looking out towards the end of the building over the main entrance. This would be if you had walked to the end of the media center, and now you're looking through that main corridor all the way to the other end of the building, and you can see how that's split into the 2 levels, and there's a walkway across, and up above you see that there's a skylight all the way around to create a lot of natural light. In a big building like this, you had to work hard to make sure we had light for everyone, and so that's how that works out. So this would be if you would come in the lower level and you would cross past the office, and now you are standing right by the art room. That's the art room where the students are sitting and getting ready to walk into. So that yellow X on the left, that's where that drawing was coming from. That would be right by the art room. But if you keep going down, you can see a blue box with an X. That would be in the next slide where you would be standing in the hallway on that lower level by the PLC area, or the collaborative area for staff. Now we move to the outside of the building, and one of the things that it's a big building and you really don't want it to look like a big square box, and we wanted to try and capture the fun of an elementary and what an elementary represents. And so you look at those words across the top of the screen, and you've got abstraction and exploration, activity, manipulation, playful, personal improvement. Those are things we wanted to try and capture, ideas, and then we wanted to make sure that there was classroom daylight throughout the building, and that it felt child-centered. So that's hopefully was captured on the inside. Now we look at the outside, and you think about when kids do crafts, like there are different scraps. Well, they took those scraps and put them on the top of the building or the sides of the building, and then they made it a little bit more reasonable from a construction perspective. And that's where the idea of the facade of the building came from. So that's kind of how it's conceptualized. Then we drew in a panel of experts, and these are our architect, Lee Buchelman's kids, asking them what would you want, and so they felt that color was pretty important. So this is one of Lee's kids' renditions of the new elementary building. So now we're going to take you around the outside with some pictures. So I wanted to give you a reference point so you could kind of keep in mind where you're at around the building. So this next slide will be taken from right where that X is on the screen. So you kind of think that's where you're standing looking at the building. So to your right, when you look at the building, you're going to see two playgrounds. The first one will be a lower elementary playground, and then there'll be an upper elementary playground, and then basketball courts and that type of thing at the end. And that's right outside of the classroom pod area. So, and then we'll work our way around clockwise around the building, and I'll try and give you reference as we go through those. So again, you're standing here, you can see to your right the playground areas, and then the classroom sections or the pods. That the one on the far left would be the TK kindergarten on the bottom level, and the 5th grade on the upper level. If you move a little closer to the building, same perspective, just a little bit of a bigger perspective. Now you're starting to go around the corner, and now if you think of that picture, this is the main entrance of the lower level. So you'd be coming in from that parking lot on the lower level. To your right is are the classroom sections or pods. The main entrance walks into that main corridor and hallway, and then on your left you would have the office area and administrative area, and then above that would be the media center and makerspace area. The grayish white to the left is where the gym will be, and we'll move to a little bit better perspective for that. So just a little closer look at the elementary or the entry. We will have signage there so you'll know that you're at MOC-Floyd Valley Elementary School. This is a little further away, and you can see the whole view from the south side of the building. The white you can see is kind of built into the side of a hill. So really, when you're looking at that building from St. Paul Avenue, it's going to look like a one-story building, and then you come around, you can see that it's two. That's just maybe a little bit better perspective on that. And then now we've worked our way all the way around to the other side of the building where the students will be entering off the buses. So when they go in the doors here, that actually takes them right into that upper level hallway, and then if they turned and started walking down the hallway, they would be right by the special education wing and the 3rd grade wing, and then they would walk their way down to the south. And this, we've worked our way all the way around. Now we're on the southeast corner of the building, looking towards the playground. So that, again, you're looking at the classroom pods side of the facilities. As far as a progress report on where we're at with the project and where we're headed with the project, Libra Construction was the company that was in charge of the excavation work. They had a great fall. Got most of the work more work than they had hoped to get done by this time. For both our property and the portion of the property that the city's developing. They'll obviously have some more work to do as far as footings and that type of thing when we actually begin the work next spring. We will be receiving bids on next week, the January 15th, for the precast materials for the building and the geothermal well system. And then the biggest part of the bidding process we'll put out for bid the end of February for 32 different packages, really all of the construction portion of the building. That'll go out on February 25th or 26th, and we'll receive those bids back by March 25th, and then 25th or 26th. And then when we receive those bids back, we'll have until the April 11 board meeting between March 25 and April 11 to approve the different packages, And then after the April board meeting, construction will begin in earnest for the whole building. There are 3 other items that will be bid later in the process. One is the cabling for the wire or the data part of the building, and that has to be done at a different time for E-rate purposes. And then the playground equipment and the furniture will come later. There are, we're doing the value engineering part of things. We've been doing that for a long time, and we'll continue to try and find ways to bring the plan and the budget in line with each other. We have, we're a little bit over right now. We're working our way to where we need to be. We have some contingency items as far as things that we may not do immediately, but we'll try to do, and we're hoping that we can do all of that. So, but that's all part of the process. Another piece of this was an addition to the high school. We saved approximately $2.9 million of the whole project will go towards that high school project. So we're working through that part of planning at this time, and we'll know more as we move forward with that. But the project, like I said, will begin in earnest in April, and the summer of 2023 is when the project should be done, and we should be moving out of the 2 current elementaries and into the new elementary building. And then when the school year 2023-24 starts, we will be in the new MOC-Floyd Valley Elementary building. So pretty exciting stuff. We'll continue working on it, but we're really happy with the direction we're taking.